mission that is twofold. It is to build community and share food, one green bag at a time. So I want you to imagine a green grocery sack filled with about 10 pounds of food, which would be roughly equivalent to 12 meals that would feed a hungry neighbor. What do you think is the power of that one green bag? And now I want you to imagine the power of 2,000 bags. So we collect food on people's porches 6 times a year, and that's important because people are hungry year-round, not just at the holiday times, which is when food drives typically occur. We currently have 6 members on our steering team, 125 neighborhood coordinators, and 2,000 food donors in Clark County. In October, we collected 22,000 pounds of food, and since the project started, we have collected over 450,000 pounds of food, which is a lot. So how did we get started? And Debbie Nelson is here to tell us all about it.
Hi, a little nervous. Well, it started in my neighborhood with a dispute. We had, in Truman neighborhood, we had a big conflict that blew up through the neighborhood. And people were not speaking to each other, people were afraid of each other, and we even had people who were afraid to walk down the street anymore, just going for a neighborhood walk because they thought they'd be confronted. And so we were trying to figure out what could we do that would make our neighborhood more comfortable again, and what could we do to help neighbors enjoy each other. Maybe we could have some kind of a fun event, we thought. At the same time, we were seeing a rise in homelessness and hunger. And when we would go down the street, we'd see people with signs on the street corner asking for help. And I learned from our elementary school that there were children that were sleeping in their cars and didn't have enough to eat. So how do you even start to make a change with overwhelming issues of hunger and neighborhood divisions and growing isolation? And then we heard about the Ashland Food Project with a simple and easy way for neighbors to work on a positive project together. So we decided that collecting food would give us a common purpose and help us to work together on the hunger issue, not on the issue that was happening in the neighborhood. So the food project gave us instructions, green bags, materials, everything that we needed. And in August 2017, we started with 20 neighbors who donated 400 pounds of food to Fish in Vancouver and to our local elementary school. So we're about building community as well as sharing food. And here are some ways that we build community. There was a woman who lived in her house for 20 years, and she never talked to any neighbors. And after she got involved in the food project, she started being walking buddies with the person around the corner from her. And another story, we were really scared to approach this one neighbor who seemed angry all the time. But when he heard that we were collecting food for neighbors in need, he was so generous he needed extra bags for all of his donations. And later, when a windstorm knocked down another neighbor's tree, he came right over with his chainsaw and cut up the tree and cleaned up the debris. And we started a rock band. As we were walking around and meeting neighbors, we kept hearing about people who played music. And then we tell them about each other, and they started a garage band. So we have seen real neighborhood connections being built, including people on both sides of that neighborhood conflict. Some of our most generous volunteers had been hungry themselves. There's one man who told us his story. He grew up hungry and had to get food from the food pantry, and when he went in, the staff used to ask him about his grades, they'd talk to him about school, and that gave him enough impetus to graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, and get a good job. And now he's a neighborhood coordinator that gives food to that food pantry. Other local neighborhoods heard about the Green Bag Project and wanted to join. We give them all the bags that they need, all the materials, the instructions, and we're there in case they have any kind of questions and need some help and some ideas. There's a lot of neighborhoods that we hear about their stories and their ideas, so people are sharing with each other. And it was really surprising to see how different these neighborhoods are. Some of them have 100 donors, some have 5. Some got their hiking groups to be donors, or their book groups, or their places of worship, or their co-workers. And along the way, real connections are growing with neighbors helping each other. And it's spreading. We kind of didn't expect it to spread like this, but it is spreading. And it's spreading all over Clark County. Neighborhoods are building their own groups, all with green bags brimming with delicious, healthy, non-perishable foods for food pantries in schools near them.
I got started in the food project through my book club, someone who was a neighbor at Debbie's, and I thought it was just a thing in their neighborhood for probably 6 months. I had no idea how large it was or how many other neighborhoods were involved. So I thought, well, I can do that. So I went to my neighborhood meeting and I put a blurb in the neighborhood newsletter and a post on Facebook, and I had 20 people sign up with, that's all the effort I put into it. Currently I have about 35 people on my roster that I pick up food from. This is a picture of my house, actually, and 3 of my teenage great nieces. And the first couple times I went out, I had a high school student who lives in my neighborhood who needed community service hours who helped me. And they were sick one day, so I invited the girls to come with, and they have never left. They're like, this is their project now. They handle the bags and the postcards and getting all the things ready for collection day. And so I have had good connections with neighbors through the fruit project, but I've also had really good family time and a chance to really foster the sense of giving back to your community for young people. And this is another young person I want to talk about. This is Lucy. Her mom is a neighborhood coordinator. We met her this summer when we had a volunteer appreciation event, and she won a gift card to Winco Food. And I would have thought she would want to go buy candy or something, right? But she didn't. She asked her mom that night, can we go shop for people that she had seen on the streets that Lucy was sure were homeless? And so these are the bags that they prepared that she and her mom then later passed out. So what Lucy might not have seen is all the other people in Clark County who are food insecure. The Clark County Food Bank estimates 126,000 people in Clark County don't have enough food. And that includes seniors who are on a fixed income trying to pay their heating bill and their property taxes. It includes families who work full-time at lower wage jobs and just can't make ends meet in order to feed their kids every month. So the Clark Neighbors Food Project currently delivers food to 7 different pantries around the county, as well as 7 different school resource community centers for the kids to take home food during the backpack program on the weekends. The Clark County Food Bank is like a warehouse distribution center. They don't actually give food to patrons, they deliver it to the food pantries to distribute the food. And there are 23 food pantries that they work with, plus 3 food sites. And all of those pantries have committed to equitable food distribution so that people who need the food are the people who are getting it. There are a few gaps in their system. They know there are areas where food pantries are further away from people who are in high need. And if you remember that map with the dots earlier, there's big gaps in our system. We deliver to 7 of those 23, and it's not equal. And we're in that struggle of, well, how do we make that problem better? And rather than taking away from the pantries that we already deliver to, we thought, well, we could just grow and find more people and more donors and get the word out. So that definitely was a motivator for us to come here today to help spread the word about green bags. Our process is very simple. If you sign up as a food donor, a neighborhood coordinator will bring you an empty green bag, either in person or drop it on your porch. As you shop, you fill it up. On the second Saturday of even numbered months, you leave the filled bag on your porch. Your neighborhood coordinator will then come pick it up and leave you an empty bag for next time. And then the neighborhood coordinators do have that added responsibility to take the food and drop it off at the food pantry. So we want to ask you a question. Where's your neighborhood? Who's in your community? Is it the people on your street? Maybe it's the people you worship with. Maybe it's the people like up in the corner here that is a group from Ameriprise who not only donate at work, they also come down to the food pantry and help sort food on collection days. Maybe your community is more fun. I hope you can all see this is the Catch-22 paddle boat team, the Dragon Boat Racers. They are food donors for the project. So whatever your community is, whether you have one or whether you need to build one, we're going to challenge you to put your hand out, bring those people together, and hopefully together they can also experience the power of one green bag.